The Sapporo Snow Festival has come and gone again, folks, and this year's was great. I thought the sculptures were excellent, the projection mapping was really good, there was good eats, and of course, these past few years, the whole thing has had a kind of rock concert atmosphere to it, which is awesome. But before I get down to business, I have a couple of stories I'd like to share with you. A couple of stories about tourists doing odd things. Last Sunday, I was working in Tomakomai, just a day trip. It wasn't one of those overnight ones like when I was in Asahikawa. But we did take the train there. We had reserved seats in the morning. The weather played along, so there were no delays. Tomakomai is a nice place. I'm actually going to have to do a pod about it this year. At some point, I'll do a ride just to go sightseeing around Tomakomai. But that could be a short sightseeing trip, folks. But Tomakomai is definitely on the menu for this year. But anyway, coming back after work, coming back on the train again, JR, the weather had really kicked up. Friends had said it was just absolutely dumping back in Sapporo. So it was kind of fingers crossed that JR wasn't going to stop again. So myself and the other people I was working with, we kind of get a move on, get to the station early, and we're in time to get on an earlier train back to Sapporo. Now, we had reserved seats for the later train, but because we were changing trains, our group of 5 couldn't all sit down. There wasn't reserved seats for us on that earlier train, right? So only 4 out of the 5 of us could sit down. One of us had to stand on the way back, and I volunteered because that's just the kind of guy I am. And anyway, I had a couple of train beers to keep me company, so standing, hey, no biggie, right? But I was standing in between cars, at the doors to the train where some people keep, there's a luggage area. There's lots of space there, scenery whipping by. It's no big deal at all. But so the train's approaching Chitose, where the airport is, right, in Hokkaido. Not the airport, where the main airport is in Hokkaido. We're getting close to Chitose, and this dude rocks up with a backpack and shorts and a t-shirt on. Perplexed. I asked him what he was up to. I was being all friendly, of course. It was just I was a bit taken aback by the scene. I mean, it's the middle of a blizzard. It's the middle of winter in Hokkaido. Nobody's wearing shorts and a t-shirt, right? So, I start talking to him, and I also very, very quickly realized that this guy wasn't Japanese. Turns out he was from Taiwan. Now, folks, I'm sure like all of you out there, I have seen people change into shorts and t-shirts, what have you, just before getting on an airplane, or vice versa. They could be in, Hawaii and change into sweatpants and a warm hoodie if they're going somewhere cold, right? I've seen that, but traipsing all around Hokkaido in the dead of winter? No, I've never seen that. I've never seen somebody going all the way through snowy scenes from, their hotel all the way to the airport. Certainly, again, traipsing about Hokkaido in the dead of winter is it's wild. So, me and this guy, we had a bit of a laugh, right? Because I was obviously amazed at what he was doing and not being judgmental at all. I mean, hey, you be you go for it, son, right? So, but what I couldn't believe was that the guy actually said he wasn't cold. Now, it was like -5, -7 or something like that. And when the doors opened at Chitose, there was just a full blizzard going on. Like, it was near whiteout conditions, and this guy just stepped off the train straight into it. I mean, it was just madness, right? I was like, what is going on? Well, I should have known. I should have known not to speak Japanese to him at the first place, because there's just looking at that getup, there's no way he was Japanese. I mean, absolutely no dosanko would dress like that. There is not a chance in hell that would happen. But still, how was I to know? He looked, his face looked kind of Japanesey, you know what I mean? He could have been doing something on a dare or something like that, right? But actually, when I got home, I told my wife this story, and she said that she saw that same thing from time to time with Southeast Asians when she was working on the main tourist strip in Otaru. Apparently, it's a thing, and they all claim to not be cold. You know, she said they had a few customers from Taiwan, some customers from Thailand as well, that were walking around dead of winter in shorts and a t-shirt, claiming not to be cold. What is up with that, eh? Things that'll turn your head in Hokkaido in the winter, I tell you. Wow. But hey, I guess it takes all types, right? Which which kind of brings me to my second interesting tourist encounter. Now, I'm going to jump ahead a bit here, because this was after, I know this episode's about the Sapporo Snow Festival. This happened after my second trip to the festival. And when I was heading home from around the TV tower area of the festival, I went underground. I went into the underground shopping arcade called Aurora Town. And as I was walking down the stairs, there was this older Asian couple standing at the bottom. And I saw the old guy kind of waving his arms about. I actually thought he was waving goodbye to somebody. But, as I got closer, as I got further down the stairs, there was clearly something wrong. The woman was, kind of touching the sides of the door. She was touching things in the wall. I think she touched the fire alarm light goes off if there's a problem. I think she was actually pushing that. I really wasn't sure what was going on. So the old boy, he sees me coming down the stairs and asks in perfect English. So I actually have no idea where this couple was from. But this guy looks at me and he asked me he asked me to help him with the door. I looked at him kindly. I smiled, said nothing, and just kind of pushed the door open. Well, just right away, the husband just burst out laughing at what they had been doing. The wife, to be honest, she looked really, really embarrassed. So I just kind of joined in the laughter as I kind of carried on my way. But they thought that was an automatic door. And they thought for some reason it just wasn't working for them. But here's the thing. I don't know if you know those doors going into Aurora Town, going into Pole Town. They have really big handles. They have really big vertical handles on those glass doors. And you can push or pull them open. I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know. I guess for so many people, they just think everything in Japan's automated. They think everything's. I don't know what. I don't know what was going on there. I don't know why they thought that those were automatic doors. There are giant handles on each door. It was just a wild scene to come across. But also I guess for just so many people, the wheels just come off when they're traveling in foreign lands. But a door? Oh, dearie me. Oh, you have the tragic situations where people are unaware of where they are and they might get buried in a snow bank or something, or we had that tragic situation a couple of years ago where that Chinese woman was killed at Asari Station. She got hit by a train trying to get a picture, right? There are obviously varying degrees of tourists not being fully aware of their surroundings, but that is the first time I've seen somebody struggling, clearly struggling with a door. Oh my God. I had to share that one with you folks. I had to share both of those with you because Those are pretty unique situations, I thought. Okay, anyway, folks, let's get down to the Snow Festival. So, after work on Saturday, I went down to the festival with some friends, and we were on a bit of a time schedule, but that was okay because we saw the big stuff, right? You know, we saw Shohei Otani, we saw Myaku Myaku. Those two were kind of in front of the TV tower at what's that? One Chome. So that was pretty cool. They weren't the biggest ones of the festival by a long shot, but they were still cool to see. This year at the Sapporo Snow Festival, there were actually 136 snow sculptures, with some over 10 meters tall. The Snow Festival was actually in 3 sites. The main site is always Odori Park. Then there's the Ice Festival in Susukino, and the kind of children's playland with slides and all kinds of things like that at Tsudomu. Now, last year, the Snow Festival had 2.3 million visitors, but it has just finished. It just finished on Wednesday, so I don't know how many people were there this year. But each year, one of the biggest sculptures of the whole festival in Odori Park is at 4 Chome. And this year, it was right up my alley, folks, as it was kind of really tied in with what I love to do on the bike in the warmer months here in Hokkaido. I love to check out Hokkaido's Jomon sites. And in case you're not familiar with it, I know I've talked about it a bunch of times on the podcast, but the Jomon period lasted for about 10,000 years, from about 15,000 years ago to about 2,400 years ago. That's the kind of time frame we're talking about. And again, I know I've talked about it on the pod many times before, so I won't repeat myself with the Jomon sites, but I will link those episodes in the show notes. But the Jomon people kind of left all kinds of really cool artifacts, and one of them is a hollow clay figurine nicknamed Kaku. There have been many of those figurines discovered, and in Japanese they're called dogu. But Kaku is the most famous of all of them, and nowadays Kaku actually represents kind of our human connection to nature, to the land, the sea, the animals. You know, kind of as the Jomon people were obviously much more reliant on nature than we are today, right? Well, they didn't have smartphones and computers and that kind of stuff. They were living a much more harmonious existence with nature, right, than we do today, unfortunately. Well, anyway, and Kaku is a reminder that we should not forget that we are all in big, big trouble if we completely lose that connection to nature. So that sculpture of Kaku was the biggest in this year's festival. And folks, let me tell you what it took to make it. I found this stuff really, really interesting. The size of the Kaku sculpture was 20 meters in width, 13 meters in height, and 18 meters in depth. The snow required to build it was wild. Check this out. It took 520 truckloads of snow with a capacity of 5 tons each. So, settle down, folks, relax. I've done the math for you. That is 2,600 tons of snow was in that Kaku sculpture. If you don't do tons, it was 2,358,680 kilograms. Now that is one big clay figurine left over from the Jomon period. Yes, folks, she was a big one. While at that era, while enjoying the sights of Kaku and the Jomon era man that was paired up with him, we also got long potato, as they're known here in Japan. They're kind of these really long French fries. Obviously, we don't have potatoes. We don't have potatoes that long. I don't know what it is about them, but they're so good. I think they're actually rolled up mashed potatoes and then deep fried. Really, really, really good. As we're walking along, they're kind of a festival favorite for a lot of people up here in Hokkaido. Check them out, Long Potato. And of course, there are pictures of the Snow Festival. There are pictures and video of all of this stuff up on the Cycling Hokkaido podcast Instagram page if you wanted to go check that out. After checking out Kaku, we carried on through the festival and went to check out the projection mapping for the JRA sculpture. JRA stands for the Japan Racing Association. That's horse racing, and they always put a sculpture on every year, JRA. In case you didn't know, Hokkaido is a hotbed for horse race breeding. Horse race breeding? Horse breeding. Sorry. We've had some really famous horses come from Hokkaido. And folks, if you're looking for places to ride this summer, the horse farms around Abida make for just some absolutely beautiful rides. I'd highly recommend it. If you want to come out on a ride to any of those with me this summer, get in touch and let's make it happen. But yeah, so JRA, the Japan Racing Association, has one of the biggest sculptures every year. And the sculpture is always really good, but what's best about it is the projection mapping. It's awesome. Personally, I felt they've done better projection mappings than they had this year. I think in the past they've been better, but it was still cool. You know, they show animated versions of horse races. They've got all kinds of sparkly, glittery stuff that makes the crowd go ooh and ah. But speaking of projection mapping, by far, the best projection mapping of the 2026 festival, the 76th Sapporo Snow Festival, and actually maybe one of the best ever was the way they lit up the castle in Odori Park. What was that, at 8 Chome? Aizu Tsuruga Castle. It was a very typically styled Japanese castle. It was beautiful. It was really big, and it looked awesome. Even without the projection mapping, it was incredible. The detail on it was absolutely excellent. The actual castle is in Fukushima, and it's got a really long and interesting history. That castle was originally built in like the 1300s. I think it was 1347 or something like that, and it's famous for being like one of the last samurai strongholds in kind of the end of the reign of the shogun, the Boshin War, that kind of time in Japan. And it had been, a functional lord's castle for hundreds and hundreds of years. So it was really, really cool to see that history represented at the Sapporo Snow Festival. But the projection mapping on it was outstanding. A really good show. I've got videos, again, up in the Cycling Hokkaido podcast page. I've got them up on the Cycling Hokkaido YouTube page. The video is pretty long on YouTube. I think it's like 5+ minutes. But if you want to see the whole show, that's all up there. And again, I will include links to those videos in the show notes if you want to check it out. But it was gorgeous. They took you through a whole bunch of scenes with the projection mapping. Like they had simple candle lighting around the castle. Then they had, just fantastic winter scenes of things swirling around and lightning going off. And, they also had, what kind of looked like Edo era Japanese type characters moving about through the scene. It was really a fantastic event. Definitely the highlight of the 2026 Sapporo Snow Festival. Then, of course, there was a large Star Wars sculpture. There is every year, and I'm always so grateful for the organizers for putting one on. This year, it was the Mandalorian and Grogu. I guess they have a movie coming out this year, right? So, of course, that needed to be promoted. But that is not a complaint, folks. Anytime there's a giant Star Wars snow sculpture, I am stoked. I'm still a big Star Wars nerd, no matter what you think of the recent movies. But, a lot of it's been really good as well. What was that show? Andor. That was awesome too, right? And The Mandalorian was great. Yeah, okay. Some of it's not the best quality these days, but the ones that do hit are really good, I think. And I am definitely going to go see Mandalorian and Grogu this year. I guess it's going to be in the summer, right? Anyway, but yeah, so that first day, we were on a bit of a time schedule. When you're with lots of people, there are just a lot of different scheduling things at play, right? Just well, hey, just like with cycling, but that was cool. Everybody wanted to go out for dinner instead of completely see everything in the festival, so that was fine. We went out for dinner, nice Japanese izakaya dinner, great night with friends and all that. But I went back the next day, on my way home from Tomakomai. I went straight from Sapporo Station, walked all the way underground to Odori Park because me, with the Snow Festival, every year I want to see absolutely everything there. I love it. It is my favorite event in Sapporo, and I've been to every single Snow Festival since I've been here in Hokkaido since January 1999, folks. I I haven't been here this long for the Snow Festival, uh, but I definitely make an effort to go check it out every year. So, also, another one of my favorite parts of the Snow Festival is the international competition. And this year, it did not disappoint. They were awesome. The team from Finland won this year with kind of like a human head and face in, I don't know, a fractured eggshell or I don't know what that was. Maybe it's a human head inside the fractured earth. I don't know. Now, but there's always something I wonder about the international section. Okay, Finland won, right? Now, I get that. They are a winter country. But the teams from like Thailand, Hawaii, Singapore, and those kind of places, how do they practice? Right? What do they do? Do they practice with sand? How? It must be a very unique skill set carving snow. So I've always wondered why those places, Hong Kong, Thailand, why are they so good at snow sculptures? They are just fantastic designs. The intricate details that they put into them are just incredible. So that was great to see. Hawaii's was really good. They had the kind of, what are those leaves? Palm leaves with geckos crawling up and down them. That was cool. Thailand's was a bird feeding its chick that was excellent. That international section is really, really fun. Well worth checking out, folks. And then to cap it all off, to cap my whole cool experience of this year's Snow Festival, I finally got my free Shin Ramen. Folks, in case you don't know what it is, Shin Ramen is a pretty spicy bite of noodles. And in the last few years, they've been giving them away for free. Very cool. It's not a full bowl of ramen or anything like that. It's kind of like a half size of cup noodles. And it's the name of it is Shin Ramen. And this year, I finally got one. And I actually got super lucky. There was zero lineup when I got mine. Well, the reason I say that super lucky is because another woman I was working with, she said her son waited like 3 hours in line for a half cup of noodles. I see. I think I would not have waited. I would not have put that much time into a small cup of noodles. But hey, I guess if you're a fan of it, why not, right? Go for it. But anyway, well, I guess it was also kind of so not busy because time was kind of kicking on a bit. It was Sunday evening. It was dumping with snow. But for me, the fact that the whole Snow Festival actually wasn't that crowded that Sunday night because it was coming down pretty hard. But for me, with that snow dumping like that, it kind of made eating hot noodles outside, it kind of made the whole thing poetry. Right? Eating hot, spicy ramen in a snowy Odori Park was just magic. And yeah, again, super lucky that I don't know if you experienced that this year, but I just walked right up to the counter and got noodles. There was no wait at all. Oh dear, lucky. Free noodles. You can't beat it, right? So, folks, again, that is my favorite Sapporo event finished for another year. And again, I don't care what other locals say, the Snow Festival is the best. Woo! Folks, I would love it if you would hit that subscribe or follow button to the Cycling Hokkaido podcast. Leave me a comment, vote in the poll, and I hope we can get some kilometers in together in 2026. Winter on, folks. Love ya.
Cycling Hokkaido!